Hello and welcome, my name is Bartosz and this is next episode of our program Polish Plate. Today I would like to show you two very nice recipes. The first one will be Kulebiak, which is basically yeast dough with some fermented cabbage stuffing, and the other one will be carp in jelly. It's also a very popular dish as a starter in Poland. We're gonna start with Kulebiak, so we have to make the dough. I will show you the ingredients. So of course all-purpose flour, the universal flour, we get some milk, fresh yeast, egg yolk and fresh butter. And for the stuffing we have fermented cabbage, very typical ingredient in Poland, not so common in the whole world, but we love it. White onion chopped already, whole egg, mushrooms soaked 12 hours before, and that's it. I'm gonna start with the filling.
Although Kulebiak is a dish originated from the eastern regions of Poland, its name comes from the German Kulebiak, which means cabbage-filled pastry. To summarize, here's what you will need to prepare it. 400 grams of flour, 230 milliliters of milk, 30 grams of fresh yeast, 40 grams of butter, 2 egg yolks, salt and pepper, half a kilogram of sauerkraut, 30 grams of soaked dried mushrooms, 150 grams of onion, 50 grams of carrot, and seasonings like allspice and bay leaves.
So we're gonna begin with our stuffing. Important thing is white fermented cabbage. Maybe you cannot buy it in your city, in your town, but it's very easy to make it. All you have to do, you need to shred the cabbage very thin, and you have to put 2% salt of the weight of the cabbage. Next, you need to punch it out really hard until the juice of the cabbage will go out, and then you need to press it maybe in ceramic pot very tightly to the bottom and put something heavy on top, so all the liquid from the cabbage needs to be on the top. And you keep it like for 2 weeks on top of your counter table, and you get fermented cabbage very simply at your home. So let's put it inside. So the next ingredient is an onion. It's already chopped. I will keep it simple like my grandma used to make it, but if you would like to have some more taste inside, you can caramelize it with some butter or maybe some lard. It's up to you. And of course, our mushrooms, soaked minimum 12 hours before with the liquid all together. And now we need some time. It will take, it depends, from 1 to even 1.5 hours because we need to reduce the liquid to the minimum. After 1 and 1.5 hours, it depends of your time, the liquid is completely reduced and the stuffing is ready for the further step. You should adjust the taste to your preference and you should cool it down before go to the next step. The next step is the dough. So first of all we should warm up the milk a little bit because the yeast like warm and nice temperature. I'm taking just a little bit, and we should warm it up around 40 degrees, no more. We have to prepare our starter. I have some fresh yeast, but if you don't have it, you can use dry yeast as well, but you should use it 4 times less the quantity we have in our recipe. That's very important. And the next ingredient is the flour. I will just use a little bit, so the starter have a power to rise. And then some warm milk inside, and we're gonna try to create some paste. So all the ingredients are well mixed. Now we should let it rise for around 20 minutes in some warm spot, and then we're gonna mix it with the rest of ingredients. The time is done, the starter, you can already see it start to rise. Now we can mix all ingredients together. I will start with all the wet ingredients, so the rest of the milk and the egg yolk. Mix it well together, and then we're gonna go with the rest of the flour. I'm using classic flour for this recipe. But if you're, for example, gluten-free, you can always choose the mix of the flours without the gluten for you. So the dough is briefly mixed, and now it's time for small messy job, so I have to take my sleeve off and I'm gonna knead it with my hands. And we'll dust some extra flour on the bench, and we're gonna knead it like 5 minutes or so, and then we're gonna add some small amount of soft butter in the end. I'm doing this dough by hand because it's quite small quantity, but if you have stand mixer in your kitchen, feel free to use it. It's always easier for you and you're gonna have clean hands. The kneading is very important for the dough because you give some friction by your hand, and of course you give some heat, but it's very important for the gluten to develop and to have very elastic dough in the end. The dough is well kneaded. See, it's not sticking anymore to my hands. So what I'm gonna do next, I will just drop it in my bowl. I will dust it with some fresh flour so it will not dry out too much. Then I will cover it with a towel and I will let it rise for around 1 hour in warm temperature. After 1 hour in a warm kitchen, the dough double the size. You can see it clearly. It's ready to work out with our stuffing. What I'm gonna do next, I will roll it out with a rolling pin. I will let the stuffing on top and roll it into kulebiak. First of all, I will flour my bench and I will drop the rice dough in the middle. I will flat it with my hands at the beginning. Try to pull it a little bit to the side so you can have like already square size of the dough, and then you can roll it out with your rolling pin. So what I'm doing now, I'm just rolling the dough. I'm aiming for the square, more or less 30 on 30 centimeter, and try to make the sides more square. The thickness is around half centimeter on this dough. And what I'm gonna do now, I will just trim the dough a little bit and I will keep the trimmings for decoration. The next step is to lay down our stuffing. Cabbage with some wild mushroom. I used porcini mushroom for this recipe. Spread the stuffing for around 1 centimeter thick. Don't press it too much because we want to keep the dough very aerated. And don't forget to keep like 3 centimeter line in the end so you can easily close the dough so the filling will stay inside our kulebiak. As you see, it's ready and now it's time for rolling. In the end, when it's done, try to close the ends and try to hide it under the roll. Don't forget to keep nice shape of kulebiak. I will put it on the side now. Then I have time to prepare my decorations. This dish is very often made in Christmas time when food needs to look very, very special. So I will lay down the kulebiak on the baking tray. I will just crack 1 egg and mix it a little bit so all the decoration will hold up together. So I will brush the dough a little bit from the top, not too much. If you would like to have some different things on top, you can use pop seeds, you can use sesame on top, you can really do a lot of things with that dough to have different visual effects. So spreading is done, now it's time for decoration. What I'm gonna do now, I have some strips from trimming the dough. I will just without more tiny. I still have some dough left for the other decoration, so I will roll out the dough and I will try to make some nice flowers on top. I'm using a cutter like this, but you can use some small glass to cut out the dough. 1, 2, 3, and I will try to pinch the dough like here and the other one like here in the middle, so we can see nice flower on top. So all the decorations are ready. Now it's time to put a little of egg wash on top of all kulebiak, so it will be nice and shiny after baking. And we're gonna make it in the oven, preheat to 180 degrees Celsius, and we're gonna bake it for around 45 minutes. So our kulebiak is ready, a beautiful golden brown color, nicely baked, and I'm pretty sure it's very tasty. Normally you can eat it straight away like this, like a single dish, but we often use it as a side, maybe for example for borscht or for żurek, for different kind of soups, because the dough and the cabbage is very nice combination in taste for every kind of dish. So I will just slice it now to present you how it looks inside. I will gently remove it on my cutting board, and I will try to remove baking paper very, very gently. And we can slice it right now. You can feel it, soft dough and lovely stuffing from our cabbage. So as you see, beautiful slices. I cut it around 2 centimeters. It's very gently though, so it will not fall apart when you try to eat it. That's how I make my kulebiak. It's always, for us, for Polish people, cabbage and mushroom stuffing. But you can put any kind of ingredients inside, like a fish, like a meat. It's always up to you. The next dish for today is carp in jelly. It's simply poached carp fillet with some vegetables, then we're gonna set it in our fridge. It's very common starter and appetizer in Poland, especially for the Christmas time. For today, I have a beautiful carp fillet, frozen green peas, spices like allspice, peppercorn and bay leaf, gelatin, fresh parsley, and some lemon for the juice.
Aspic dishes are one of the specialties of Polish cuisine. To prepare carp in aspic, besides the fish fillet, you will need 700 milliliters of water, 100 grams each of carrot, celery root and parsley root, 100 grams of onion, 40 grams of frozen green peas, 15 grams of gelatin, 10 grams of parsley leaves. Seasonings such as salt, pepper, allspice and bay leaf, as well as lemon juice for drizzling over the fillet.
So the first step is to prepare our vegetable stock. I use some root vegetable like carrot, celery and parsley root. And you should simmer this stock minimum 30 minutes to get beautiful taste. I will strain the vegetables out of the stock so we can use them later for our garni, for our beautiful fish jelly. And the next step, we're gonna poach our carp fillet in that stock, but you can use any fish as you like. In Poland, especially in the winter time, the carp is very popular. The next step is to prepare our fish. You should do 2 things. The first, you should check for any bones that left in the fillet. Carp usually have some small bones hidden in the meat, so what I'm gonna do now, I will just make a lot of tiny cuts through the fillet to the skin. You don't want to cut the skin through. That's your way how to make your carp fillet boneless. You can feel it under your knife, cracking fish bones, so you can hear it. You're making this very, very well. Now you can make some small portions, like one here, and one here. What I wanna do now, I will squeeze a little bit of lemon juice. The carp is really milled fish, so you wanna have some fresh taste of lemon inside there. And I will put some salt and pepper as well. I will let poach the carp for around 10 minutes on very, very low heat. The stock should just gently simmer so we don't overcook our fish. It's a crucial step if you want to have juicy and tender meat in the end. While we are waiting for our poached fish, we can prepare and cut some our beautiful root vegetables from our stock. So I will just simply dice it for some small cubes. The next step is to take out the carp out of the poaching. You have to be really gentle because it's almost falling apart. You can see nice, juicy and tender pieces of our fillet. Smells very nice. The next step is to take gently with the spoon flesh, our meat, from the skin. The skin, we don't want to use it, it's quite chewy on that fish. And you can feel it under your fingers, the bones, the fish bones almost disappear. It's very crucial step, like I said before. I will mix it, the meat with the vegetables. The next ingredient I will put inside is fresh chopped parsley. For the color, of course, and for some vitamin C, some nice and fresh taste. A little bit of salt and pepper as always. If you put salt before in your stock, don't put too much salt in the carp filling because it can be over salted very easily. And I will gently mix it all together. Don't over mix it, you want to have nice pieces of carp meat in your jelly. And the last step is to prepare our jelly. I have beautiful, very aromatic and nice fresh stock from carp and from our vegetables. The last step is to put some gelatin inside. Normally when you make jelly with any kind of stock, you should use around 20 grams of gelatin per liter of your liquid. Be sure that the gelatin will dissolve completely. We want to avoid any lumps in the liquid. And that's it. When it's hot, you don't boil it anymore. You just turn off the heat and it's ready to pour. Our last step is to put everything together in small bowls. So we start with our base, which is carp with some cooked vegetables, some fresh herbs, and it's always up to you what kind of vegetables you want to use. I'm preferring always using the vegetables that cooked already in the stock because I don't like to waste any food, so that's my way of making it. Next thing, we just need to pour the jelly to the bowl. You have to put it in the fridge until the jelly will set. The best time for it is always 24 hours. The jelly is fully set. Now it's time to plate. What I'm gonna do, I will put gently our jelly on the plate. I let the bowl stand outside the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes so I can do it very easily. And that's the way how I serve it in Poland. Maybe one slice of lemon for this simply decoration and few leaves of parsley. That's how we make carp in jelly. We use carp today, but you can use any fish you like. So in this episode we had Kulebiak, which is Eastern European dish with some sauerkraut, specific ingredient for Polish cuisine, and we get jelly with fish. That's it for today, and I hope you will try this recipe at your home, and see you in the next episode of Polish Plate.